We love a good brainworm day.
I wouldn't say I'm still wearing my pajamas because I had to go out, but I would say I'm wearing them again.
Yeah, I did have to, wear work clothes, but this is pretty comfy.
I don't know, I had multiple meetings today like this.
Good for you. As is your God-given
I
right.
love that.
And I had somebody in a Zoom meeting today, like, hey, I used to do their group runs on Saturday mornings at that running store. I'm like, oh, hey, what are the odds?
I love that for you.
First of all, I am still kicking myself. I did not just keep it on, but I am going to wear it to my run tomorrow with my Alexandria people. Just represent.
I love that for you.
I feel like this is going to be a thing. Like, whenever I visit somewhere new, I need to find the local running store and pick up merch.
Aw.
Good
I love
thought.
that.
I also feel like it's like when I'm in Rochester again, that's also going to be a thing, because when I go to New York, for like literally since I was in high school, I would go to the Strand bookstore, which is like a pretty well-known used bookstore, and I would get a chess book, and that was literally just like something I've done since I was, in 10th grade, and I feel like that's just going to become a thing now.
I love that for you.
Every
Yo,
time I
me
visit a
too.
new city, I always look to see where they have yarn stores and breweries. But I never thought to do running stores because I feel like a lot of the ones I've been to don't have like merch. They're in merch. So
Yeah, I always look for
I
a
know
good used
Pacers,
bookstore when
like-
I'm on the road.
Pacer sort of has merch, but nothing like specific. I was kind of bummed because I got back and I was like, ooh, now I should get something for Pacers, and then it's all like, it's just like Nike. I'm like, oh.
Big sad.
Great,
yeah,
but
I might have checked their website after.
they
I
are
was like,
really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're a cute little DC, Virginia. Like, it's a chain. It's a small chain, but like, they're
I do
cute.
have a Fleet Feet running tank that just says runner on it.
I did run past that person who was running with their shirt that said, "Ooh, let's keep this quick," and I was like, yeah, I fuck with that hard. That's an awesome running shirt.
All right, well, welcome, folks, to episode number 69. LOL, nice.
I feel like you can't not say it.
Literally,
No.
It doesn't matter how old you get. As soon as you see the number 69, you are immediately possessed by the spirit of every 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And you simply must say, nice.
There must
When
be
I
good...
was in New York interning, our legislative director was making nice jokes. They were like,
That's
"What bill is
great.
this?" And they were like, "Oh, this is bill like 1469." He's like,
Nice.
"Nice."
I'm glad to know this is happening in our government.
I was like, "You're a 40-something-year-old man with children."
It also always makes me think of Bill and Ted. If you're us, what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes! That movie's a work of art. I love it so much.
True. It's true.
I think we have a very fun little debate to start off. I did tell you guys that there was a link. I don't know if you've had the chance to take a look at her.
Oh, that's what you meant by the link.
In the schedule doc?
Yeah, the episode schedule.
Like, I saw the Discord message you sent, and I had the doc open, and someone
here it is.
next, and that's the link you meant. Let me see.
Bridget!
Oh, we've seen that one before!
So, what we
I can't do this with you right now.
Every time you tell me that the memes I have sent you make you want to throw your phone, like, into the river, or that you can't, or that you mute notifications from me specifically when you are on Capitol Hill because my memes are so cursed, some of the highest compliments I have ever received. Anyway.
I was sitting on the river, like high 60s, low 70s, breeze, vibing, get a notification. Ruined my whole fucking night.
No,
I was like, well, no, it didn't, but still.
So what we have in here, I am opening this up for myself as well. The question is Elmo, like the Muppet, is he technically a glove?
I have very hard thoughts on this, but if you guys,
Because, this is from a tweet. No text has ever affected me like this. Person number 1 says in a group chat, LMAO, this edible ain't shit. Approximately 45 minutes pass, and the same person texts back, Elmo is a glove. And I would
He's a
like to
mitten.
discuss.
He is not a glove, he is a mitten.
there it is.
Interesting.
Because he has like the two little.
Well,
Because that's kind of the angle I was going with. Because gloves have individual
You're
finger sockets.
So is Elmo a mitten?
you know my route. I'm immediately like, let me look up the specific definitions.
Give it to me.
You know,
I love having clear definitions and parameters.
Absolutely.
so a glove is a covering for the hand, having separate sections for each of the fingers and the thumb, and often extending partway up the arm. So you have to have the separate sections. Versus a mitten, which is a glove with 2 sections, one for the thumb and one for the other 4 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you put the thumb like in the other part of his mouth, right?
Yeah.
So so I think he is technically a here. Let me see if there's any insight into like how, like the actual like puppet physically works.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. What does the inside of Elmo look like?
I don't know what to Google for this either.
Yeah, that was the only thing I could think of.
How
It doesn't
do
seem quite right.
Muppets work? There we go. How do Muppets work? Yes,
no,
Elmo is a mitten. Based on this diagram that I'm looking at, Elmo is a mitten.
I regret my choice.
Do I want to know why you regret your choice?
Hey, here's a video. Do not cut open haunted Elmo doll at 3 a.m.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that dissected Elmo dolls.
Cute.
And the pictures are kind of terrifying.
Explain.
I don't like that. Tickle me Elmo without the fur.
Ooh, bad.
Nope.
No,
I love
not
a
bad.
video that someone made where they like rewired like an Elmo doll that like talks, so they could like make it play something they wanted, and it goes, "Speak, comrade Elmo," and its mouth opens and it starts playing the Soviet anthem. Which is another video I will find and link. Yeah, based on this little diagram that I'm seeing of how different Muppets like work, I'm gonna say yes, Elmo is a mitten. Because there's a separate section for finger and thumb to make him talk.
It's a very lopsided mitten because your thumb part and the finger part should be like 2 different sizes, but it's still technically a mitten.
Yeah, I'm gonna say technically a mitten.
Yeah.
Criteria, as the definition says.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ever watch Muppet Outtakes?
No.
No.
That's
But
a good
also
time.
I love
Because
that.
because you can actually, you see a wider view a little bit, so you can see like the people holding the puppets and stuff and see how they react. And I've seen clips where they like stay in character.
I love that. That's so fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Ah, this is a little bit closer. Elmo Puppeteer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing the puppeteer holding Elmo.
I gotta say, random thought. I think it would be so much fun to like work for like the Jim Henson Creature Shop.
Mm-hmm.
Just build some creatures. That sounds really fun to me.
Just your job. What do you do? I build creatures.
Yeah. I create beings.
Why?
Why what?
I regret this choice. Well, because I looked up Elmo Puppeteer on Google Images, and I clicked on a particular image because I wanted to see it a bit bigger, and it goes with a New York Times article, and the headline is Elmo Puppeteer accused of underage relationship.
Oh, ew.
So,
Ugh.
thanks again, Google. Thanks
Nope.
again.
Gross. Hate that.
I had to find something that was impure. I just had to, apparently.
Apparently.
I hate it.
As do I.
No, why did I click on another one? Why?
You're just having a bad time with Google tonight, aren't you?
This is an article from the Daily Beast.
Oh, God.
I always felt it was creepy. Stories of sex with Elmo puppeteer Kevin Clash.
Okay.
I'm not gonna click it anymore.
You're on the cursed part of the internet.
Yeah, you're...
Google images!
The entire internet is cursed at this point.
Yeah.
I googled Elmo puppeteer. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't deserve it.
The internet is just a wasteland.
That's the exact word I was about to fill in.
Noise.
Oh, like...
Well, now that we know that information,
we know way more about Elmo
more than I ever wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan. It was not the intent.
No, I am still gonna say that Elmo is a mitten, though.
Yeah.
He's also accused of verbal abuse in the workplace.
Who?
The puppeteer. I'm gonna stop clicking on things.
Yeah, stop.
Did he do the verbal abuse in the Elmo voice, or
like... being surrounded by Muppets and like all this and stuff, and like I want to know what he said that was really in that context. And
also, I mean, you're working on a children's show. Like, I can't imagine your workplace being all that hot. Like, what are you getting angry about?
It just doesn't really mesh. Like, trying to visualize that.
Yeah, no, that's weird. I don't like that. Stop clicking on things.
I did, and I know that Bridget's gonna hate me for this, but I did just see the episode of West Wing where Abby brings Elmo into the office to do the doctor, like, the shot thing.
Haven't both Elmo and Kermit testified before Congress?
Yeah.
Like, I'm 99% sure that... Hold on.
No, that sounds familiar.
That's 100% real.
Yeah.
Muppet testified before Congress. Boom. Who do we got?
I'm reading an article. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, why are you doing this?
No.
I know it's not technically a Muppet, but I remember this one like Reddit tweet thing where somebody asked, when you get dressed, do you put on your shirt first or your pants? And somebody said shirt, and then somebody said, okay, ooh, Winnie the Pooh ass bitch. And
actually,
it was close
no.
enough.
Kermit did not testify before Congress. Kermit appeared at a press event on Capitol Hill to promote awareness of endangered... Hold on.
Wait, now I want to Google something.
Now on the Google hour.
Wait. The closest thing I've ever gotten to like following the Muppets is when Mitt Romney wanted to like cancel PBS and was like going after Big Bird, and they did a whole publicity stunt with Big Bird. Like...
to promote awareness of endangered amphibians across the globe. Nice.
That's actually really cute.
So Elmo is the only Muppet that has testified before Congress, but other Muppet appearances in the White House include Big Bird and Rosita.
Can you imagine making a children's show that is so popular and so influential that it gets you into these really high places in Washington? Like just picturing that from scratch. Like if your project was to design something that was going to take off and gather so much steam that you were going to be testifying with your characters in front of Congress.
There's a picture of Cory Booker with Bert. That's great. Oh, and there's a picture of Hillary Clinton with Big Bird.
I love that.
I like that they gave Elmo a little suit and tie when he testified before Congress.
I was trying to find more information about his verbal abuse.
Jesus Christ.
I came across another headline. Elmo puppeteer accused of luring minor into drug-fueled parties.
Oh my god!
But the only thing I could find about the verbal abuse is somebody said that he was leaving a voicemail for a child as Elmo, and the guy accidentally interrupted him, didn't realize that's what he was doing, and he like basically swore at him and told him to shut the fuck up, in front of a bunch of small children.
Oh boy.
So that's great. I'm gonna
I
stop.
mean,
Yeah, stop.
it is supposed to be
Please do.
educational, and they learn new words.
Fisper.
It's like a vocabulary thing.
Yeah.
F is for.
Friendship.
Yeah. Didn't expect to go down this road, but
Yeah. I feel like a drug addict who needs my fix. Like I just let me click on a few more.
Well, I think the funniest part about all of this is how Brooks would just be like, "Oh my god, this is terrible. I need to stop." And then like 2 minutes later, like,
oh my god,
this
is
is
terrible.
even worse.
It's like watching a train wreck, you know? Like, you know, you shouldn't be looking at it. It's terrible. People are suffering.
We saw like a downward spiral happen in real time.
Yeah.
Just, like, it started bad and it got worse.
Oh, actually, it just kind of like tangentially made me think of like things that are gross but you can't look away from. Last night, my short king and I went to go see that new movie X. Just the letter X is like one of the latest A24 horror movies, and let me tell you, the practical effects on point. It was nasty. Very good movie though. If you're
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, disgusting. Where? It was great. It was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I love the spooky stuff. But yeah, no, shit was gross.
Are there movies that are like what are some movies that are so bad that that's why you watch them? Because there's some that I want, like I need to still watch Rubber. I just have to. I can't not see this movie, and it's been out for so long.
I mean, the original film adaptation of Pet Sematary kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've watched it because that's my favorite Stephen King book. I didn't go into it with high expectations, and frankly, even those expectations weren't met. But like things I watch because they're bad, like The Room, of course.
Yeah, the first thing came to mind. That's the
Hi Mark. My man Tommy Wiseau. Looking at my movie shelf, actually. Oh, frankly, the movie Help, starring the Beatles, is kind of bad because they were stoned the entire time, but it's very fun to watch. Like, it's incredibly fun to watch, and I regularly watch it. And also the movie that the time that Paul and Ringo kind of just like attempted to make the Magical Mystery Tour album into a movie, and John and George wanted nothing to do with it. So they were just kind of miserable on camera the whole time. That's also an utter disaster, but I watch and enjoy it. What else have I got here?
That's the entire reason I own the first Twilight movie, is to just make fun of it, because it's like, it's so cringy.
Yeah, no, it's so bad. And we've had this conversation on the podcast before. The fact that people are like, oh, Twilight, they like invented the sexy vampire. No, they did not.
No. That doesn't make any sense.
No, they didn't.
Does not compute.
Interview with the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And like things way before that.
Mm-hmm.
Put some respect on the people who deserve it. I don't think. I mean, I don't know if this one really can. Napoleon Dynamite. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's just very low budget.
Oh.
And frankly, that is part of its charm.
No, Napoleon Dynamite had like, I don't remember what the budget was, but it was dirt cheap.
Oh yeah,
like,
no. And like it makes me love it more knowing that like a couple broke college kids were like, yeah, we're gonna make a movie, and they did it, and it's delightful.
It's terrible. I love that movie so much.
I love that movie with my whole
Kip
heart.
Will never not be like my favorite person.
Oh my god, my cousin one year lost a bet and had to grow a mustache, so he was Kip for Halloween. It was very good.
Napoleon, I'm trying to become a cage fighter.
Okay, my sister and I both love that movie, and we made our mom watch it one time, and the whole time she's just like I don't get it. I don't get it, and we were just like, There's nothing to
You
get.
can't try to. Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing to get. It's stupid. You laugh, and then you move on.
Also, I just love how they take like all the worst stereotypes of the Midwest.
Right?
Just like everything you imagine about how just dead the place
and
is.
also, like, you cannot for the life of you pin down an era in which that movie is supposed to take place. There is simply no way.
It's the era equivalent of being like androgynous. You just can't tell.
You just
like
simply cannot tell. Like this.
It could have been like the 70s or 2010.
Yeah,
you have no way of
it could have been the 70s. It could have been the 80s.
Yeah.
It could have been literally any. I love Napoleon Dynamite so much. That's a great movie.
Yeah. I know that the movie gets quoted like all the time. Like my sister and I, like that's our movie.
Oh yeah.
Like that's
Yep.
I mean, I enjoy the movie. I have a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I do want to mention is it came out like the year I graduated high school, and everybody was insufferable quoting that movie.
That doesn't shock me,
Like,
but I didn't have to live through it, so
yeah. And so I have a slightly different relationship with it in that, like, at first I was like, yeah, it's funny, I was quoting and stuff, but then you reach a point where you're just like, one more person quotes the movie, I swear to God.
Yeah, that's
I
very
will take them down.
that's fair.
So, yeah, just a little bit of a different relationship with it.
That's fair.
Yeah. Apparently, John Hughes only made $1,000 for being in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
So yeah.
And also apparently like 10 years later someone asked him if he still remembered the dance, and he did. Which, like, nice. What else have I got on my shelf? Yeah, I don't think that one counts because it's low budget, but, like, that's part of the charm, you know? It's not bad.
Yeah. I think it has to be a movie that you genuinely acknowledge, like, this is not well written, it is not well acted.
Oh, the Avatar movie, like the Blue People one. It's not good. The
effects were amazing.
Yeah, that's
like,
literally that's why I watch it, and that's why I'm going to watch the sequel in the most expensive IMAX theater I can possibly find when it comes out, because I just want to turn my brain off for 2 hours and see pretty CGI planet. And, like, that's why I enjoy the first one in the first place. It's damn cool to look at. The script, acting, storyline, everything besides the special effects is frankly an afterthought.
Yeah.
But the effects, goddamn, they bang.
I would put nearly any sort of, like, cheesy action film into this category.
Except The Mummy, 1999.
No, I'm talking, like,
Bad Boys. Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys for Life. Terrible. You can make a drinking game out of the unnecessary somersaults in each movie that people do, but
I like it.
So entertaining.
Yeah. Anything with, like, a, you know, like a Stallone in it. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop.
Well, that's genuinely good.
Yes, but it's also like
Matuma.
There's like a whole genre of movies, or at least there used to be, where it was like adults who are children, who are caretakers of children, who are also like secret fighter.
Yeah, that was a whole
like,
thing.
The pacifier and yeah, oh my god, so corny, but also a riot.
I hate it.
Oh yeah. What was a Jackie Chan movie? Like The Babysitter or something. He did one where it was the same thing.
But I mean, we do stand Jackie Chan in this house.
Oh, we absolutely stand Jackie Chan.
King.
But
yeah, no, that was like a
that was a thing for a while. Yeah.
Very late 90s, early 2000s.
Yes. Paul Blart Mall Cop.
A masterpiece.
But like that was also a genre of like
inept guy.
A place gets taken over and everybody's held hostage except for one person and has to one by one take people out.
And it's always the last person that should be in charge.
Yes, because like you have Paul Blart Mall Cop, but then you also have like Air Force One,
Yeah.
where the president, I don't even remember the plot. He's like in the bathroom or something and is not there when the plane gets hijacked, and then it's like up to him to single-handedly take back the plane. And
Plane.
yes, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was actually a good movie, but like,
Well,
honestly, there are a lot of
one of my
concepts
absolute
out there that are like super dumb, but make for very good entertainment.
one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. I've seen it like so many times. Is Con Air. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Oh my
I
god.
haven't.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Because it's like from early 90s. I can't remember exactly what year it came out. But the entire premise is like there's a plane transporting a bunch of prisoners, like transferring them to a different prison, and they're all like the most dangerous criminals, like serial
Of
killers and serial
course.
rapists and
So
like
right,
let's
all
put
this
them all
stuff.
on the same plane.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Including Steve Buscemi, who like
Nice.
murders children, and they have him like in a special cage with a mask on, like Hannibal Lecter style.
Nice.
But then Nicolas Cage is on the plane. He's just hitching a ride, but he's actually being released. He's the only one not just going to a different prison. And then the criminals hijack the plane, led by John Malkovich.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great cast. And then Nicolas Cage, though, he's actually like a really good guy because he was a military dude who accidentally killed a guy that was harassing his wife. That's why he was in jail. So he decides that he's gonna take the plane back for John Cusack, who is an FBI agent. Great cast, but it's got those kind of like lines where it's like so bad but so good at the
Yeah,
same
I
time.
know what you mean.
And John Malkovich's character has some of the most interesting phrasing of any character I've ever heard in my life. There's a certain part.
You know what you just made me think of from the final last stream on the left. They shared that video from some old TV show where this guy kept going like it's an old Polish proverb and then saying things that make zero sense. Sorry, I just had to put that out there. I'll find that video and I will link it. Brooks, continue.
Yeah. There's one particular line for some reason that every time I hear it, I have to like rewatch it a few times, and I don't know why. But where Nicolas Cage is doing something, helpful, and Malkovich, he's like, "Well, thanks, Poe. You're proving to be a most useful mammal."
Okay. All right.
just saying,
So
technically
good.
true.
Oh god, it's so good.
Oh, actually, speaking of
press the
Nick
plane in
Cage,
Vegas. There's like a fire truck. It's a whole thing.
have you guys seen the trailer yet for that movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where like Nick Cage is playing like a ridiculous like version of him, like himself, as like some like some crazy crazy actor with all these ridiculous like it's getting really good reviews, and I'm super excited to go see it. And I think the funny thing about Nick Cage is like every now and again he reminds people what he's actually capable of. Like he phones it in a lot. But when he doesn't,
Yeah,
the result is quite good. So yeah, I'm very excited to see that.
Con Air came out in '97.
Nice. A year before I was born.
Oh, so good. Every time it's on, I'm like, oh, sweet, Con Air.
Is that one of those
I
movies
think-
that like you don't like? It's like one of your favorites, but for whatever reason you don't own it? Because I have quite a few like that.
Yeah, no. I love it. So good.
I think that National Treasure, one of those movies that's just so like corny.
Yeah, it's
but
pretty ridiculous.
and it's one big meme, but also I will love forever. And while I was interning, the staff was talking about the movie. I wasn't even like part of the discussion, and I walked by as they were talking, and I was like, or no, somebody walked by me while they were talking. No, I think we just walked by each other. But I was like, oh, I love National Treasure. And he's like, and he looked at me like deadpan. He's just like, everybody here loves National Treasure. I was like, yes, I am in
As
the
they
right
should.
office. As they should, absolutely. In terms of corny, like films and whatnot, some of the lines, like of the one-liners from the old Bond films, are so cringy.
Oh god,
they're just like so bad. Like
Honestly, looking back at a lot of the old Bond films, they're like majorly gross.
Oh yeah.
Like majorly gross.
That's why I can't bring myself to watch any Bond movies.
Yeah, no, not a fan. Not a fan.
I like Daniel Craig or Craig Daniel. I should know
Daniel
that.
Craig.
It's Daniel Craig. Yeah, see, I got it right in the first try. I liked Skyfall. I watched Spectre. Didn't really get it, but I also know it's one of those movies you need to like watch more than once.
I don't think I've
Casino
ever seen a
Royale.
single James Bond film.
Skyfall was actually good. I genuinely enjoyed it.
I know that Mads Mikkelsen is the villain in one of them, and the only reason I know that is because I had major hots for Mads Mikkelsen in high school.
How do you spell his name? I should know this, but I'm not a film person. Is it like Matt?
Oh, Mads.
Okay.
Mikk.
Oh, okay, I see.
My dude.
Mads Mix.
Love him.
Okay, no. Oh, he was in a Casino Royale.
That's the one.
The beginning of Skyfall kind of killed it for me because just like, of course, the whole premise is unrealistic, but like he's fighting with a guy on a train and they get shot, and like he gets shot and he goes flying off of this really tall waterfall and lives. Like, no. First of all, you got shot by a high power sniper rifle, and then you fell like 100 feet.
Okay, here's the thing. I understand taking issue with that, but also, like, some old lady, like, went over Niagara Falls in a barrel in the 1800s and survived.
Wild stuff.
So, like, whenever I, like, I'm
because
like, oh, no one could survive.
Old days.
Because it was the old days.
Like, oh, God.
It's the old days. I gotta put on all these layers. But no, whenever I, like, have a moment where it's like, oh, no one could survive going over, I'm like, someone survived that in a wooden barrel hundreds of years ago. I think I can suspend my disbelief for an action movie.
And then everyone's reaction to that was like, let's do it again. But better.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I hate when I get dumb shit in my head because then I just can't stop laughing.
The movie Speed is so bad.
I don't think I know that one.
It's a classic. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock.
Keanu Reeves, my beloved. What's the premise again?
That a guy plants a bomb on a bus, and if it goes below 50 miles an hour, it explodes.
Oh, is it like that X-Files episode that had Bryan Cranston in it?
I don't remember that one.
Fair enough. It was in the later seasons, but also cool fact, that's how Bryan Cranston and Vince Gilligan met. Was working on an episode of the X-Files.
Man, I thought Speed was one of those, like, movies that everybody knew. Interesting. Oh, it's so bad. It's a very young Keanu Reeves.
Okay, well, I'm sold. Is this pre or post Bill and Ted? Like, how young are we talking here?
I never remember what year things came out. Speed came out in 94.
94.
So 5 years after.
Sold. I am sold. Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted, by the way, like, gorgeous. Love him.
Oh, he's very attractive in Speed. Oh, that's right. I was trying to remember what the name of the criminal is. Dennis Hopper.
Gotcha.
So good.
Yeah.
That's exactly the kind of movie I think about, because it's just like, it's so cringy. Like, what a stupid premise, too. So they're, like, careening around the city on a bus at 50 miles an hour.
That is kind of fun.
And then you get those great scenes, like, they're going down a highway. They're like, this is good. You know, no one's around us. We're on a highway. And then it turns out the highway's unfinished. There's a giant gap.
Oh, Space Jam.
Everybody get
Space
up.
Jam is terrible.
No, it's not.
Yes,
well,
it is.
yes, it is, but it's not.
Well, I mean, if we're still talking about movies that we watch because they're bad. Yeah,
I
Space
love
Jam
that
is god-awful,
movie so
and I love that movie.
Yeah.
First CD I ever had was the soundtrack for that movie.
I love that for you. Yeah.
I had that as my ringtone for a while.
Nice.
Everybody get up.
It had a good soundtrack, though.
Honestly,
The
I gotta
soundtrack.
say-
No, wait. Can I say like even like just because the movie is terrible, the soundtrack can still bang.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, the soundtrack from like is Bad Boys bad? Absolutely, but the soundtrack from all three of those films bangs so hard. Like it's actually really good music.
I gotta say, a lot of movies combining like live action and cartoons, with the glaring exception of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, generally are not super well executed.
Mm-hmm. The 90s Batman and Robin movie
Oh my god!
is a travesty.
Is that the one where like the batsuit has titties?
I think so. I mean, I can't remember what the costume looks like, but it has like Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god, it's so bad. It's one of like the worst, and it's like it wasn't good at the time, but then I watched it like a bit of it a few years ago and was like, oh my god, somehow it's worse than I remember. I don't know how that's possible.
That's not the one with the Jack Nicholson Joker, right?
I mixed them up
because frankly, the Jack Nicholson Joker one I kind of respect because it was like a live action like homage to like the comic books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a little cartoony and silly, but like it's like supposed to be.
This is the one. Oh no, this is the one with Mr. Freeze as Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Why? That's my thing. Why Arnold Schwarzenegger of all people? Like, seems like a cool dude. Nothing against him, but like, why him as Mr. Freeze? Mr. Freeze's whole thing is that he's like a scrawny, like nerdy scientist who's just like trying to save his wife, and the only reason he's powerful is because he has all these cryo weapons that he built with his big brain. He's not supposed to be strong. I have very strong... Mr. Freeze is one of my favorite Batman villains. I have very strong feelings about him, and I would like to see him done actual justice in a movie. Same thing with the Riddler, but now we finally have that with the new Batman.
As opposed to Jim Carrey?
As opposed to Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the George Clooney Batman, because there was the George Clooney one, the Val Kilmer one, and the Michael Keaton one in the 90s.
The Michael Keaton one is the one with the Jack Nicholson Joker, right? Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that's the... Like, that one, I'll let that slide. That one's kind of fun. It's like, it's cartoony, it's silly, but it's fun.
They're a little... Campy might be the word.
That's good. And, like... You have to be self-aware with the camp, you know?
Yeah.
Like...
I feel like that's the case with some movies, is you can't tell if they're doing it intentionally or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the way I feel about Con Air. I don't know if it's really that cheesy, or if they were, trying to be...
Or if they were kind of leaning in.
Like, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Like... That's one of the things about, like, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, as much as... Like, plot-wise, the movie's bad. Like,
oh yeah, real bad.
Like, there is no plot. It's just vibes. But they, at the very least, like, knew to really lean in on the camp.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like, why it still works.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie so much.
The Emoji Movie.
I, have been toying with the idea for a very long time, especially now that they recently announced that, Emoji Land is 1, coming back to Broadway, and 2, going on tour. I have been toying with the idea of making a video essay similar to the one I did about the SpongeBob musical, about how Emoji Land and the Emoji Movie are the exact same concept, pretty much, but one of them is fantastic and the other one sucks ass. But in order to, like, appropriately research to make this video essay, I would have to watch the Emoji Movie.
The Emoji Movie was the first movie that played in Saudi Arabia after they left their 35-year ban on cinema.
That is who it was meant for. People who do not know what a movie is.
I think people thought that they picked that movie on purpose, so nobody wants to ever go watch a movie again.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the idea of eventually watching the Emoji Movie. Because I really want to talk about how Emoji Land takes the same concept and just does it a million times better.
I really want to watch the movie Nothing But Trouble because it gets referenced on last podcast on the left like constantly.
It does.
It has like a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh my
but I
god.
can't find anywhere to watch it
Today we can watch it
because I
together. Today in the car on the way to work, I was listening to one of the Side Stories episodes, and it was a Side Stories episode about like a weird sex cult in Albany.
yeah, the Nexium.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
was having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was having fun, and also this episode happened years ago now. It doesn't matter, but Ben Kissel, please know, it is Rensselaer. It is pronounced Rensselaer.
How is he saying it?
It was like Rensselaer. And it took me a minute to like understand what he said. I was like, what the hell? He's like, the Rensselaer Polytechnic. I'm like, you mean RPI?
I am having a good time because I'm looking at a list of the 50 best worst movies of all time.
Keep hitting me.
Many of which, some of which I've never heard of, some of which I just haven't seen. Some of them I actually thought of but didn't mention because I didn't figure y'all would know what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them where it's like, yeah, like, what did I just come across? I just saw, what was Con Air? Con Air's number 24 on the list.
Beautiful.
Followed, The Room is 23.
Nice.
But it's got like, I forgot about this Charlie Sheen movie called The Chase, which is just god awful. Oh,
Or My Mom Will Shoot.
Huh?
I
don't know.
I know the name, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's a Sylvester Stallone movie. Richard Schiff was actually in it. It's funny because there was like for a while in the 90s, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone had this like dude off, right? Like who was the more man, like, you know, like actor or whatever. And Arnold basically like leaked to him that he had this big role in this movie that was going to be the next big thing, and then like didn't go through with it and got Sylvester Stallone to do it, and it like really hurt his acting career because it was that bad.
Ooh. Interesting.
Apparently, they almost got in like a physical fight at some award ceremony.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple movies I am planning on watching, knowing that they are probably not what one might call Oscar worthy. I have a Letterboxd account because of course I do, and I was just like, I was looking through people's like lists of like you know their weird movies or whatever, and I discovered that there is such a thing as North Korean cinema. Like, there is a film industry in North Korea, and I don't know why this didn't occur to me before. I guess probably just because I didn't think that would be a thing on their minds because the economy is so small, but, like, it does exist. And I'm kind of genuinely fascinated to, like, try watching one or two. Like, I think John Oliver brings it up on his, on the one where he covers North Korea, but there's like a monster movie called like Pulgasari, and it's like a little like Godzilla creature, and like people have said like, yeah, like this isn't like great or anything, but it's like kind of entertaining. So there are some movies I'm planning on watching that might not be 5 stars on IMDb, but we'll see.
I told Brooks about this movie.
That's your name now.
While we were out there. One movie that I actually did watch last year, simply because I knew it was going to be bad, was Godzilla vs. Kong.
Of course. Where was Where was I when this was happening? Oh, was this when you guys were running?
No, it was in the kitchen. You may have been showering or something.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely terrible. Basically, I'm gonna spoil the plot because it's not. It's like, they okay, it's Godzilla and Kong, and they're just like fighting each other. But apparently, there's like a robot Godzilla, and then they have to like team up and like beat the robot, and like this robot thing is killing everyone, and then like they're like, oh my god, we can't beat it, and this thing is killing both Godzilla and Kong, And then some dude accidentally spills his soda on the controls, and the robot starts to malfunction, and then they like tear off its arm or something, and it's just awful. It's so awful.
I love that. Oh, the movie Riddick with Vin Diesel. It's not good, but I was
Oh,
entertained.
the number one worst movie on this list is the 1998 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, okay,
So
I'll buy
there's
that.
But the number 2 and 3, I'm surprised, are ones that I did not think of. Because 3 is one of my absolute favorite worst movies of all time, which is Congo.
Have not seen it.
Yeah, oh my
Yeah,
god.
either.
Amazing. It's a movie from 1995. It's an adaptation of a Michael Crichton novel. But
Interesting.
I can't even. I can't.
Okay.
There's essentially an expedition that goes to Congo to find, they're like 2 different groups that go together. One of them is looking for like a research team that went missing,
Mhm.
and the other is trying to find this like lost city that's supposedly filled with diamonds.
Of course.
Guess who's in charge of the group looking for the diamonds? Somebody you love, Bridget.
Oh shit. Well, now I'm like feel pressure to guess.
Related to a movie that we were just talking about that you love.
We talk about a lot of movies, bestie.
Like 3 minutes ago.
You think I remember 3 minutes ago?
It's Tim Curry.
Yeah! I love Tim Curry.
And he's so ridiculous. And his character in the movie is named Herkimer Hamulka.
Yes!
It's so bad. They have a gorilla that has a special like machine attached to it, and it does sign language, and the machine translates the sign language into speech.
Okay, Tim Curry is another actor who has never turned down a paycheck, but also never phoned it in. Quite similar to Sir Michael Caine.
Also, I mean, it's the. Sorry, it's so bad. I don't think it's technically a spoiler to say
Who
this.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But they I'm trying not to spoil it because you really should watch it. It's fantastic. But there are all these like super evolved gorillas that just kill everybody basically.
Cool.
And the way that Curry dies is fantastic.
Noted. All right.
It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
And what is the third worst movie here?
That was number 3.
Oh.
On the list. That's like. Sorry, I just saw something. That's a movie that's like my and my brother Justin's movie.
Of course.
There's one particular line that we always quote to each other, and I just looked up and saw it on the screen, where there's a guy in a Congolese accent chastising Tim Curry for eating a sesame cake, and he goes on a whole rant.
Incredible.
Yeah, so that's number 3. It has a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is frankly surprising.
Fair.
Number 2, Wild Wild West, with Will Smith and Kevin Kline.
I've never heard of it.
Movie? Oh my god!
I've never heard of this.
It's a steampunk western.
Okay, conceptually that sounds cool, I'm not gonna lie.
No. Oh god, it's so bad. It's so
it
bad.
is.
Oh, you know what's a bad movie that's so much fun? Tremors.
Oh yeah.
And Starship Troopers.
All of them.
Starship Troopers is kind of a banger of a movie. Especially when you take into account the fact that it is satire, but like Tremors, oh my god.
Yeah, it has Salma Hayek in it. It's got like all these famous people. Will Smith recorded a song called Wild Wild West that was like top of the charts for a long time,
Nice.
for the movie. But like Kevin Kline's character makes all these like crazy inventions that are just absolutely ridiculous, including this giant mechanical like tarantula thing. It's just so needlessly extra in so many ways. It's so terrible.
I love that. Okay, we're gonna have to have like a bad movie marathon.
Oh god, yeah. It's so
Cabin
good.
in the Woods.
It's not a bad movie. I love that movie.
Literally, if you type in "is Cabin in the Woods" on like Google, the first thing that comes up is like a parody.
It is.
Yeah, but like that's why. Like it's just.
Do people not realize it's supposed to be satirical? Because then I can see it being.
No, 100% is supposed to be. But like.
That's why people think Starship Troopers is like bad.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, it's a banger. Absolute banger of a movie. And also the effects in Starship
I
Troopers
think
for the 90s are fantastic. Anyway,
By the
it
way, that 97 Batman and Robin is number 5 on the list.
fantastic.
love that.
Yeah, we're gonna have a bad movie marathon.
For the record, love Cabin in the Woods. It's just so cringeworthy.
Oh, I'm listing movies
But
here that are...
but like but right, no, but that's why you like it.
I've brought this up before. Do you know what my personal favorite awful movie is? $5 to either one of you if you can guess right now. Very specific to me.
Movie?
Yes.
Bad movie?
God awful.
I could use $5.
I have a guess, but I'm afraid to say it, and that's not it. And you're like, how dare you say that's a bad movie?
I won't be offended.
Fire Walk with Me?
Okay, fuck you. No.
The Twin Peaks movie, by the way, Zach.
That movie is a work of art, and I will die on that hill. It just wasn't what people wanted. People wanted more Log Lady, and they didn't get it, and they were salty.
We could have always used more Log Lady.
We could have always used more Log Lady. No, it is the god-awful made-for-TV Doctor Who movie. And it's terrible. It's god-awful. I love it so much. And I have never watched it with another person. And I don't think I'll ever be able to, because I know that they're going to make fun of it, but they won't be making fun of it from the same place of just unconditional love that I make fun of it from.
Yes, I remember you saying this now before.
Can we circle back to the part where you thought Fire Walk with Me was bad?
No, because you said specific to you, and I was trying to think of something that was like very you, and it's a movie that some people didn't like. So
Okay,
that was my best.
That's fair. That's fair.
That was my best guess. Man, just looking at this list, like 1997 was an awful year for movies.
Huh.
Because that's Batman and Robin. The movie Anaconda. Oh my god. It's got Jennifer Lopez. It's got Ice Cube in it. It's got Danny Trejo in it. It's got John Voight in it. And they go and they're on a river in the Amazon and people are getting eaten by anacondas, and that's the whole movie. It's so bad.
It's sad that they couldn't think of anything better than Snake Bad.
Yeah, the on this list it just says as the description, what if Brazil, but bad? What if snakes, but big? What if J-Lo, but 1997?
Okay. I mean, that I will give them.
Yeah, the effects in that movie are just
Nice.
Final Destination's number 8. White Chicks is number 6. Jumped around
Left
a little.
Behind. Or is that what it's called? Well, shoot, what is it called?
No idea, bud.
Yeah, Left Behind. Based on the book about like the rapture with Nicolas Cage.
I'm already sold.
Oh no, like I haven't watched it yet. I need to watch it, but I know that the book is just like god awful.
Oh, that doesn't shock me whatsoever. But yeah, no, like based on those 3 words that you've said, Nicolas Cage and Rapture, I'm here for it. Wonderful world of bad movies out there.
I didn't mention this one because y'all hadn't heard of Speed, but Speed 2 was arguably even worse. And that's number 10 on this list. Which it also came out in 1997. And it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 3%.
Wow. That's impressive, frankly.
It's like, what are the odds? So the speed is like, this boat can't go below, this bus can't go below 50 or it explodes. What are the odds that Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves would end up on a boat with the same problem?
Oh boy.
I was like,
That's
not
fun.
again.
Yeah, essentially at this point.
Every time.
So stupid. I don't know if I've seen lower than 3%.
I wonder what the lowest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes is.
I'm gonna Google that.
Hell yeah, dude.
There's a bunch with a 0% apparently.
Oh, hell yeah.
A lot of these I just haven't even heard of.
I can't say that's
Yeah,
particularly shocking.
Jaws the Revenge. Police Academy 4, don't you dare. Police Academy movies are a treasure. Every last one of them. It has a 0%.
Nice.
Oh, look at that baby David Spade. Oh my god, how did we not bring this one up?
Guns builds.
I would like to know what it is.
I was trying to think of a dramatic way.
Just
You know what movie I mean. Think wheelchair falling off a cliff.
it's right there. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Probably one I don't know.
Alien movie.
Oh god.
I've never seen that.
Mac and Me.
Yes!
Never.
How did
never
I
seen it.
not bring up Mac and
Oh,
Me?
what a wonderful disaster.
Jeez. Oh my god, it has 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, okay, that's not shocking.
Oh my god. Vision is where we talk about Mac and Me so much, but
I have. We watched like that entire video of Danny Gonzalez like breaking down his experience watching Mac and Me.
it like it's yeah, that is arguably the worst movie ever made. But I loved it as a kid, and I used to make my mom rent it from the video store constantly. It came out in '87.
Oh, there's so many god awful movies I absolutely loved as a kid.
Yeah, but the whole thing, it's like
It's a Coke ad.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
They eat McDonald's constantly. Ronald McDonald does like a 5-minute dance sequence in it.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like one big
Interesting.
ad.
The whole
And
thing
it
is
was-
literally an ad.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be sort of like a ripoff of E.T.
I will say though, some of the practical effects for 1987 are not terrible. They are few and far between. But some of them are not terrible.
Mac is actually an acronym for mysterious alien creature.
That's
Which
great.
is-
No, it wasn't Danny Gonzalez. It was Drew Gooden. Sorry, not that even matters.
Yeah. Yeah, the aliens in that movie are just the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. That's why I was making that face, because that's the face they make.
Oh yeah, and actually that literally just made me
What?
think of the fact that Danny Gonzalez and Drew Gooden get confused for each other so often that they made a little song that's like, I am Danny, and I am Drew, and we are not the same person. And I just did that. Sorry, guys.
Why do they move like that? They go
Yeah, I didn't like it.
so terrible. That also reminds me of one of my favorite movies from a kid as a kid that was really bad, which is Daryl, because that's also an acronym. Data analyzing robot youth life form. The robot kid.
That's kind of fun.
He gets
Nice.
rescued. He develops like sentience, and so one of the researchers like smuggles him out of the lab, and he ends up with a family, but he has no memory of who he is.
Did you guys ever see that tweet that was like, me and my friends would have beat E.T. with hammers? I mean, he is pretty freaky looking.
Yeah.
Problem child.
Is that the one where, like, Macaulay Culkin is, like, evil?
No, that's the good son.
Ah. What is
And
Problem
Elijah
Child?
Wood is the other kid in the movie.
Oh, yeah. What is Problem Child?
Problem child is like this little red-headed kid named Junior, and this couple adopts him, and he's just like an absolute nightmare. It's so bad.
Fun.
Yeah, no. Just miserable. Man, I'm really enjoying looking at these lists. Look who's talking now. Just, I can't.
There's such a unique brand of bad movie that is from, like, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I've
And
never
I
seen this movie.
can't, like, put any parameters on. Like, I cannot define it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a movie here I've never seen in the 0%er list called Top Dog, but it has a picture of Chuck Norris with a dog and a shotgun, and I'm sold.
Yeah, frankly, that's all
It's
you
an
need.
action comedy starring Chuck Norris as a cop who, with the help of a police dog named Reno, works to thwart a terrorist attack by neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Okay, sold.
Comedy and Nazis.
Yeah, okay, I'm here for it. I am 100% sold based on that description alone.
Yep, I'm there. This is great.
This is very fun. I gotta say, the bad movie is an art form, I will say.
Yeah.
Like, it has to take itself seriously enough for it to be funny.
I remember the bad movie that everybody was always talking about when I was younger was that movie Geely with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, but I never saw it.
Oh, isn't that the one where he, like, turns her straight or something?
I don't know. I never saw it. But, like, that was, like, the most famously bad movie for a long time.
Fun. Man, I'm trying to think if there's anything, like, super specific that, like, got talked about when I was, like, a kid or in high school that was, like, particularly bad.
A lot of the movies on this list I have not heard of. Most of them, actually.
But nothing is springing to mind.
Yeah, most of these I've heard of. Out of a list of like 50, I think I heard of like 6 of them.
It's been a fun little trip down the rabbit hole, though.
Yeah, I am. So many movies I just haven't thought about for years. Yeah, there's definitely a brand of movies in the 80s to 90s range that were just, for some reason,
Very weird and bad.
I clicked on another list and up pops a big picture of Mac and me.
There you go.
Just it's so bad.
I'm trying to think of, like, garbage, like, absolute garbage that I watched as a child.
Can I just
Oh,
Yes, bud?
they're not so much movies as show. I mean, maybe I don't know, but the Bible Man TV show, literally like a $20 budget,
Great.
and it's supposed to be like the Christian version of Star Wars.
Oh, fun.
Oh my god, it is so terrible. Literally, that's what I grew up on, because I was like, can we watch Star Wars? And they were like, we have Star Wars at home. And then it was like these VHS tapes from the church library, and it's those like basically those like plastic lightsabers you can get from Walmart. And he fights different people, like doubt as a person, and he like sprays him with gas, and he's like, oh, I'm doubting, and like
This is fascinating.
oh yeah, it was a whole thing.
I am gonna have to do some Googling later.
Yeah, I put the picture up from the top of this article from Mac and me in the host chat.
Oh, beautiful.
Like
the people need to see this. Where's she
maybe
at?
look
Yeah, dude.
Okay, the Bible Man was a TV series. Apparently, it's animated now. It was basically Star Wars meets like Power Rangers.
Interesting.
This is it. Okay. God.
Oh, you know what movie isn't great that I loved so much as a kid? Free Willy. That movie's a work of art. I love that movie so much. I still
cheesy kid animal movies from that time.
Oh, but you know what? It's better than Flipper. Flipper sucked.
I think I mentioned to you before, there was like a movie about a sea lion named Andre that was just great.
Hold on, Zach, did you send something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Why is it like Luchador?
I don't know.
Why is it so creepy?
It looks so sinister.
And he like quotes Bible verses when he fights.
Stop.
He's like Romans 1:20 and like reels them off.
That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah, that's something.
Oh, you know what's new that they tried to speaking of which, that they tried to remake that was terrible is like the new VeggieTales. At least the old VeggieTales were like a classic. The new ones are like
I gotta say,
terrible.
I like.
First of all,
We didn't even. The only time I ever actually like watched VeggieTales, that was not a thing that we
Mhm.
like watched in my house. Like it was like a
Mhm.
thing I saw at like Sunday school a couple times. But like
Yeah,
some of the songs from the OG VeggieTales, bangers,
they're actually really funny.
absolute bangers.
Like they are genuinely funny. And yeah, but the new VeggieTales is terrible.
Gross.
First of all, they have a character who's like bacon, which defeats the entire purpose of VeggieTales. It looks like the whole thing takes place in like a kid's play set. It's awful.
Did you know
But
that all the VeggieTales stories are from the Old Testament because the creator's mother made him promise never to depict Jesus as a vegetable?
I didn't know.
I think we broke Zach.
If Jesus were a vegetable, what vegetable?
I was literally about to say the exact
I think he
same
would be an
thing.
asparagus. I don't know why, it just feels right.
They already have an asparagus. Junior. It's sad that I know that.
There are multiples of various vegetables. I'm just picking what feels right to me.
I need to watch what I say right now.
I feel like the right vegetable is like on the tip of my tongue and I'm just not coming up with it. It's like right there.
Zach, are you okay? Do you need to like text me something so
No.
you can get it off your chest?
No, I'm okay. Just, I did not know that, and I was not emotionally prepared. Okay, I'm okay.
Can we make him an ear of corn?
Yes! I don't even think there is one.
No, there's not a corn character.
Boom. We have chosen. The people have
Feels right.
spoken.
Feels right. I don't know that I would classify them as bad, but the Short Circuit movies from the 80s,
I don't know what
Johnny
those are.
Five. Oh my god. I need some old people.
Well, invite more of your old friends.
Yeah, I need to get some people on here who know what I'm talking about. And there's so many I'm not mentioning because I'm like, oh, I know they definitely probably wouldn't know what that is, you know? And I'm mentioning the ones that I think you might know.
Sorry that you wound up friends with 2 children.
No, the Short Circuit movies, it's a robot named Johnny Five.
That's kind of fun.
And he needs input. And then you have a white guy playing an Indian guy, which is like one of the most like famously cringy race-wise type characters.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I bring him up in class actually, one of them.
Interesting.
But it's so good. It's so good. Just pure delight. Pure delight.
I absolutely
Like,
love that.
the movie Last Action Hero was one I really wanted to bring up, but I figured you guys wouldn't know that one.
I unfortunately do not. I'm very sorry, bestie.
It's another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie
Nice.
where there's a kid who has a magical so Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie is like he's a actor playing a character in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then this kid has a magic ticket that like allows him to go into the movie screen, into the movie world.
Fun.
Where he meets Arnold Schwarzenegger's character and brings him back out into the real world.
Interesting.
But then it's a problem because any character from the movies can get out of the screen as long as the ticket's nearby.
It sounds like Inkheart.
That's books though, right?
Yeah, it'll be like the film version for
Brendan
books.
Brendan Fraser, right? Yeah.
Absolute king, first of all. I will not malign that man's name.
Oh, there's a terrible movie. Oh, what's that one called with him where he's in the bunker like his entire life?
I don't know.
Oh, it's really bad. One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Still love him. He deserves the world.
He's also in a really bad movie where he plays a Canadian Mountie. Blast from the Past.
Oh, the third Mummy movie sucks ass.
Last Action Hero was one of my favorite movies when it came out. So
And like they just replaced Rachel Weisz, like we wouldn't
who does that?
realize. But also, I think it's so funny that she refused to do that movie because she said that because she wouldn't play a character who had a 21-year-old son, and like honestly, good for her. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know why they couldn't have just aged him down. He could have just been like a 16-year-old getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have very strong feelings about the Mummy trilogy.
I know that this is another one I mentioned, but Hack and Devin go to high school.
Oh yeah.
Snoop Dogg as an adult playing a high schooler. Whole movie is narrated by an animated Blunt.
That's great.
Yep.
That's fantastic. That's something I need to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Good Burger is not a good movie.
It is not a good movie.
But it's got some funny shit in it, I'm not gonna lie.
Man, I used to love all that and Keenan and Kel because that was like, I was the peak age for that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the first things we need to do the next time we're all in the same room is have a bad movie marathon. We all bring our favorite bad movie and just watch them back to back.
Oh man, what a hard choice.
We all pick 2 of our favorite bad movies and watch them back to back.
Like, Mac and Me is like probably the worst movie ever made.
So obviously, Mac and Me. Well, there's your 2.
But
listen,
I think for one of my movies, I'm gonna make you guys watch 2 episodes of Bible Man because they're like 20 minutes each.
Beautiful.
So bad.
I don't think Free Willy is bad enough.
I don't know how you guys have gotten this far in life without having seen the movie Speed. I mean, that's incredible. Oh god, Congo. Oh, I don't know what I would pick.
Well, you have until summer at the very least to figure it out.
Watch Congo though, but you got to see Tim Curry as Herkimer Hamilton.
Again, just props to that man for never once phoning it in.
Oh my god.
I love Tim Curry. I love him so much. I love that exchange. I don't think this was actually the real Tim Curry. It was like a fake account pretending to be Tim Curry, but there was an exchange on Twitter. It was like, I'm not religious, but I believe that Tim Curry's having a good time in the afterlife. And the response was like, I'm not religious either, but I'm not fucking dead yet, or something like that. That was pretty funny. That made me laugh. What a fun rabbit hole we've gone down, friends.
What was the question?
I don't even remember. And I technically know we have other questions, but we've been going for like an hour.
The only one we talked about was whether Elmo was a glove. We didn't even get to the other 2.
Oh yeah.
Elmo's a mitten.
Yeah, and I don't even remember how that connected to this whole topic. I know Zach started it.
You definitely did start it.
Sorry.
But I don't remember how it connected.
Well, I'll figure it out when I'm editing.
Yeah.
And then I'll let y'all know.
It had something to do with looking up the Elmo puppet and the bad things about the puppeteer.
I'll figure it out.
And that's where
Yeah. No, you were kind of in your own world for a good 5 or 10 minutes, just like downward spiraling so hard.
That's true. I was actually thinking at one point, like, well, I'll watch the recording later to see what I missed. Because there was one point where I was like, oh, I wasn't listening to y'all for a minute there. I think I missed.
Well, at the very least, we'll get one view.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. I think that's gonna be it for now. This has been fun. I love a good bad movie discussion.
When we do a bad movie marathon, we'll have to do an episode ranking them.
Ooh, yes.
Like, this is the worst.
Oh, you're a genius.
I like that
Fantastic. All right.
A good argument. That'll be a hard argument.
That will be hard. But hey,
a lot.
that's content,
there will be
baby.
some real fighting. Yeah.
And we'll physically be in the same room, so maybe it'll actually come to blows. That'll be fun.
I might throw something at somebody.
Bold of you to assume I won't retaliate. All right. Thank you, friends, for fighting with us. We appreciate each and every single one of you, as always. And we will be back again next week to, I don't know, fall down another weird conversational rabbit hole. Bye, everyone.
This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly, Zach Calderon, and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98, at Zach Calderon, and at AnnSarahSaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature or consider donating to our Patreon. Thanks for listening.